Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another impromptu pop up from the Just Sing podcast. Um, as you've seen from the title, I don't even know what the title is at this point, but as you've seen from the title, we about to go down a direction of understanding integration a little bit differently, and talk about cointelpro a little bit too. Uh, if part of my voice, I'm still trying to wake up and shit. Um, there would I literally not on the Martin Luther King shit. I literally had a dream and I had to talk about this episode. And it wasn't even a dream like I'm living in a certain thing. Like it's like, no, here's what you need to say. And it like literally woke me up out my sleep. I hate when that happens, but usually I try to wait it off. You know what I mean? See, let it sit. I can't. It just won't leave. So I gotta go ahead and drop it. But as we progress, the thoughts are here. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like thrown off because I'm half asleep a little bit. Like I'm up, I'm up, I'm up, and we ready, right? So check it. Um, this episode is really largely prompted because in the dream, and it could have been a dream, it could have been a vision, could have been download, it could have been all of that shit. I don't really know. I just know I seen it, and now I gotta express it, right? So, y'all know I always talk shit about civil rights, the civil rights movement and shit, how it was bullshit and all of this other shit, right? But I think I finally got the reason why the CIA was not the CIA, why integration was necessary, why, and then just a full gamut of a lot of shit that ties into this whole integration thing, this whole burning house and all this other bullshit. Why certain people had to be the face, why certain people couldn't be the face, why certain things were fought for, why certain things couldn't be fought for, why we were told what we were supposed to fight for, why we were told who should lead our movements and shit, and how now in today's science society everything is co-opted. Everything has been co-opted. The civil rights movement was the biggest bait and switch in the history of our fucking whatever it is that we have, because they no longer needed to break into our shit. We invited them because of the acceptance that we had for wanting to be them. Now, I'm not saying us as in my generation. I'm looking at the generation that fought for the civil rights, the two generations that fought for civil rights. I think a lot of us miss that point. You feel me? We look at any cultural revolution or any change or any addressing of, any baton passing has two generations, not one. We can't just blame like the baby boomers. It's the baby boomers and their parents. Or it's like, and then in condition to that, how we're going to have to be looked at is like the generation Alpha is going to look at both the millennials and the baby boomers, or the millennials and Gen Z or whatever. But there's two generations that have to be addressed. You feel me? And when it comes to integration, the biggest reason integration was a thing is because we fought to be accepted. We just wanted to be accepted by white people rather than accepting their rejection. We couldn't accept that. And these are things that are tied into me as a human being. For one, if you read Soul 3 and you go through the tree of life and shit, like I've done it worlds over. That's how I was able to tell people how to get through their tree of life and shit. But one thing that I learned is like me personally, I had to get through that, fighting to, fighting for acceptance, not just the white people, of all people. Now that's where it gets crazy, because it's like the integration was largely established by people who wanted to, people who wanted to be accepted by white people. Now you have two generations of that. Because the parents that want to be accepted by the white people raised the kids that want to be accepted by the white people. And these two generations were simultaneously running as the civil rights movement was developing and integration was happening. They locked in two generations to be forced to accept them. And they thought what was going to happen was over time, things were going to continue to stay this way. They didn't count on hip hop music. They didn't count on certain revolutionary people that were going to, push shit forward. So no matter how much they tried, shit went left. But it's still fucked up, because when we look at where we are today, it is a direct result of us integrating. But deeper than that, it led to the fact that after integration, they no longer needed COINTELPRO. They no longer needed to infiltrate because we invited the spies in. You feel me? But before I dive heavy into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram at _just_scene_. Be sure to check out my website at imjustscene.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of your podcast. Not this episode, but the podcast itself. As always, Cash App and PayPal are just fine. And we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into impromptu pop-ups. I think it's like 26 at this point. Impromptu pop-ups 26. Integration. And don't forget to visit imjustscene.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So For Real series to your library? Visit imjustscene.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit imjustscene.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit imjustscene.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit imjustscene.com. You ever want to just chat with Scene about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit imjustscene.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at imjustscene.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit imjustscene.com. All right. Welcome back. And I ain't gonna hit that third one because I need to get straight into it because the motherfucker's still sleeping. But I'm gonna wake up. I'm waking up. I feel it. Yeah. So without further ado, let's just get started into the shit. So, I often quote Martin Luther King saying, I fear that I've integrated my people into a burning house and all this other shit. And it's like sometimes you don't really see what it is until you see it. But it's like that culture. They wanted acceptance. For a long time, we wanted acceptance from white people. Some of us still want acceptance from white people now, but we don't know that we want acceptance from white people because there's a buffer. There's a buffer in between that. And I say that buffer, and that buffer is the generation that fought for civil rights, or the generation that was simultaneously fighting for civil rights, which was the adults, and the generation being raised under the quote unquote fight, the kids. So those kids and those adults are respectively our parents and grandparents. You feel me? Not on the individualistic shit like singling them out and saying, oh, your parent ain't shit. No, but the generation ain't shit. The generation ain't shit, not, respectfully, but the generation ain't shit simply because the entire thing was about fighting for acceptance. The acceptance changed, and there's been buffers between the acceptance, and as generations roll, we're not able to accept their rejection. You feel me? So, Pete, I'm going to break down a whole bunch of the psychological shit and the little subtle shit that we do. But all of this shit ties in because where we are today is the result and the manifestation of us collectively trying to be accepted by who was rejecting us rather than accepting the fact that they were rejecting us. You dig what I'm saying? Rather than accepting the fact that they were rejecting us, we chose to fight for their acceptance. It wasn't even civil rights. Like, the acceptance was so real, and this is how it's going to tie in. The acceptance in which we fought for, and the acceptance that we desired so much, is the reality that I don't want to say it's an inferiority complex because I don't want to look at my people like that, but it was an inferiority complex based off the fact that we fought so hard to be accepted that we allowed ourselves to be reduced from the highest level of humanity to the basic level of simply being civil. Y'all know I love words, but the sole fact that we called our shit civil rights movement was a means to say we just want to be civil. We know you hate us so bad, but we want you to accept us. What do we have to do for you to accept us? And what did they respond with? Be civil. And we said, okay, we can be civil. We've already been being civil. Stupid. I'm not calling them stupid as a disrespectful way, but I'm saying stupid in the sense of the actual definition of the word. Ignorance is to not know something and act on it. Stupid is to know something and still make a fucked up decision because you think it's going to go out a different way. That's also linked to insanity. Stupidity and insanity kind of... Insanity is stupidity squared. Straight up. Insanity is stupidity squared. You feel me? But anyway, what we've ended up doing and what they ended up doing when they were fighting to be accepted and civil and all of that other good shit is that it undermined who we were as human beings. So when they, oh, there's some good white people, and all of the quote unquote good white people, we end up putting them in the higher positions than they were supposed to be. The funding and all of that other shit. Like when you look at the NAACP, that was white people ran. And it stays the fucking same because even today you have Black Lives Matter. George Soros funded that whole shit, and it's so. COINTEL is no longer needed because integration was successful. Sometimes we watching out for some shit because history repeats itself, and we like, yo, cointelpro, they gonna infiltrate. We don't need cointelpro anymore. Cointelpro stopped the moment, and if you watch Snowfall, this is what it's telling you low key, but we still only see the cointelpro. We can't see the full reality, right? COINTELPRO stopped with the crack epidemic and the crack movement. They no longer needed COINTELPRO because integration had already happened. The two generations were already in place. The thing about the crack movement, it wasn't to necessarily kill off all black people. It was to purposely kill off what? 2 generations. Why are 2 generations important? Because you have the parents that are part of the revolution, and then you have the children that are born of that. What comes of those kids? That means that 3rd generation is already created. When you affect 2 generations, the 3rd generation, when you can control 2 generations, that 3rd generation is controlled by default. I don't even need to get the ones that ain't here if I can get the ones that are here and the ones that are raising the ones that just came in. COINTELPRO was no longer needed after the 80s and 90s, after the 80s and early 90s. Because what they thought was going to happen, the generation that we are, because we are millennials, this is why I'm trying to tell y'all motherfuckers to get crazy ages on some other shit, bro. It happens this way on purpose. Because we are Pluto and Scorpio. We are the generation that they wanted to kill us because they had to, but integration was just that. Integration removes COINTELPRO. You don't need COINTELPRO anymore when you have integration. You know why? Because there's still that level of you guys are fighting to be accepted by us. Even in today's time. And this right here is going to sound very monogenwarist and it's going to sound fucked up, but it's a reality you got to accept because me, I'm an absolute person. If you got through Soul 3, for me, it's not about higher self, lower self anymore. I've already transcended all that shit. I'm absolute self now. I've learned to equally bridge both of those, right? So I've learned to see an antithesis in anything. I've learned to see the opposite of anything. So when we simultaneously look at the fact that black women are the most educated women in the world, but I'm just going to stick to my country, but in the world, right? I can't knock that. I can't take it away from them. This ain't a means to undermine them. But you also have to accept the antithesis with that shit because it ties to the integration. That's one of those buffers that was simultaneously created that we don't know about, that we get acceptance from. So now, no longer are we saying, oh, yeah, you trying to act white, you want white acceptance. Nah, you're well educated. Because we understand, oh, this is supposed to be the word, like this is the game you got to play. That's that buffer. It's a better way of saying, you got to be presentable for these white people. Make sure these white people can accept you. You feel me? Make sure these white people can accept you. I love my mama to life. I love my mama to life. And this is not anything disrespectful. It's just to point out an objective, expression. When I was 11 years old, 10 or 11 years old, I started growing my hair out. I got braids, right? I had braids up until I was in the 8th grade, right? And I had a long ass hair down to my back, you feel me? And it was real long, healthy, but my mom didn't want me expressing myself in that way. She used to always tell me this when I was a kid, and it manifests itself as I got older. Once I wrote Hitting the Raw, I'll tell that story. But as a kid, she used to always say, when you get older, if you're trying to be a doctor, you're gonna have to cut your hair because it's not professional. And I was like, at first, again, there's a buffer because I'm looking at it from the perspective of where I currently was at the time. I'm thinking she's just talking about, oh, you got braids and it's because of it's tied to hip hop culture and shit like that. That's what I'm thinking of. No, 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 no. It was you have black hair that white people won't accept in their world. You feel what I'm saying? So while on one end now, in that same token, my mom would also express, don't be doing shit for white people. Don't be trying to get white acceptance and different things like that. But it's like the two was never made understood. Like there's a buffer there now. There's a buffer for what we call white acceptance because of the level in which we're in. So it's like watching that and then hearing my grandma talk about how, white people used to do this. You got to do this for white people. And, make sure you, I'm like, wow. But that was my mother's mother. 2 generations. Her generation is the buffer to mask the fact. And my mom, she was born, I think my mom was born, she was born like a few years before Martin Luther King was killed. So she's a kid as this is growing up, which means what is my grandma? What is my grandpa? What are that generation? They are the ones walking through the civil rights movement, the ones who love to brag about, I walked with Dr. King. You walked with Dr. King and you were walking under the acceptance and your children didn't know it. So now it's like, okay, yeah, we integrated. Now you can go to their schools, you can get a good education. It wasn't until, and I'm glad that I'm the generation that I am, because my mama used to, when I used to bring home my grades and shit, like I was the smartest kid in my classes. When I say smartest kid, it wasn't cultural. It wasn't racial. Don't think I was the smartest black kid in my class. That was one thing they used to, it's like, I remember when I got into high school, I had one of my teachers tell me, she said, you're the number one. This was my junior year. So I'm just sitting down and shit. Now, mind you, I came from the hood. I was running with street niggas. I was running with all of this shit. And I would come to school and still perform exceptionally. And motherfuckers, I didn't pay attention to shit because I was just that dope. I'm in my own space. And so my teacher was like, she said, you're the number one black male in the school. They're not going to tell you that. I was like, I ain't the number one. But she said, sit and think about it. And I was like, she said, I already pulled the numbers if you really need to see. I was like, she said, you are the number one black male in this school. She said, there's nobody else up there with you. And I was like, wow. That's different. And what made it worse is that I stayed in the hood because the ones who were quote unquote underneath me, I'm not saying it in the hierarchical perspective, but the ones who were underneath it were the ones who gravitated towards the white people. Right now, at this age, the same ones that I could tell where they were, the ones like say 2 and 3 maybe, they all married to white women now. No bullshit. Like, no bullshit. It's crazy as fuck. It's like 15, 16 years. It's like now they're married to white women. But they're also very educated. They went to the school, they got a degree and all of that shit. It's like, wow. That's the fucking buffer. That's the new acceptance. That's the new white acceptance. You feel what I'm saying? And I said that because it's like, growing up, as I said, my mom used to always tell me shit like, yo, you're going to have to get your hair cut because it's not professional. You're going to have to get your hair cut because it's not professional. Why is it not professional? Your hair is long. And then I watched it. Again, I love my mom in the life. I'm just pointing out and observing certain shit. My mom has worn the same hairstyle. Literally. My mom has natural hair. My mom's hair is so fucking... My mom has beautiful, amazing 4C hair. Her shit is so fucking long, but it looks so fucking short. It's amazing. It's like, you feel me? She doesn't get it straight and she doesn't get blowouts. Like, she keeps it real conservative. She puts a ponytail in the motherfucker and it's like, I get it. And I get it now that I'm older, because even now, like I said, she still wears the same exact hairstyle. Of course, unless she braids her hair up or whatever the case may be, but even that still keeps it very, very, very quote unquote professional. The reason why I use the word professional so many times, because that was something I heard growing up so much. This is not professional. This is not professional. This is not professional. But I'm like, but it's black. That's my thing. That was my thing. Because You have the fire in you when you're young, but once you're in the system for too long, you start to lose it. You feel me? My mom raised me pro-black as fuck, and I'm like, this is because I'm black. She always told me, love your hair, love it, and I'm starting to see why she did it. I'm learning that. But the fact that, it was like, yo, you got to cut your hair. So much so that it was like my grandma had to step in. Like, I cut my hair when I was in the 8th, 7th grade. I grew it back in the 8th, but I finally cut it at the 8th grade. So mind you, my hair was long from the time I was 10 years old up until I was like 13 or 14. When I say long, I mean long, long. You feel what I'm saying? But, at the time before you hit puberty and you don't got the real bone structure and shit, it look like a little girl and shit. Like, motherfuckers, I'm not no fucking girl. I'm a whole dude. I will bust your shit and look good doing it. You feel me? But the point with that was that, you know what I'm saying, when I looked at, like I said, looking back, it's like my mom used to embed that in me. Professional, be professional, be professional. I was like, for me, somehow, I always knew at a young age, I needed to be professional by skill set, not by how I look in appearance. I need to look like I know what I'm doing. I need to know what I'm doing. Case in point, here's why we're here, and I got mastered in the market the way it is, and can't nobody fuck with me in the markets. But taking it back to that time, you know what I'm saying? Watching how it played out. You feel me? That generation, my mom's generation, prided themselves on being highly educated. And we miss that understanding because it's like we look at their parents. They encourage them to go to school. Go to school, get a good education. Go to school, get a good education. They were imparting white acceptance without calling it white acceptance. You need to be in a space where you can be accepted by white people. And that's where the idea of professionalism came from. I done been in a space where I've been around, quote unquote, the professional white people. I've dusted them off. They just know how to look good. They don't know how to be that way. And here's why I'm tying that in, because it comes into a full circle moment. When I wrote Hitting It Raw, because, I'm practicing nepotism and trying to, or whatever the case may be, but I realized that there's different mindsets to different things. You feel me? So I'm like, hey, Mom, I'm writing Hitting It Raw. The book is called Hitting It Raw. My platform is profane profanity for the most part. But my mama don't know that. I can't share that with her because that's not professional. None of that shit is professional. So she thinks it's just something that you know what I mean? So as I decided to let her edit it. I'm cussing. I say shit. I'm like real down to earth. She said, this is literally what she tells me. Your information is spot on, but it needs to be more professional. So I asked her, and this kind of like set up a tone for a long divide between me and my mama. It was like I was already transitioning. I'll admit this. I was already transitioning. Like I said, I left religion. I left school. I left all of this shit because I seen how much this shit is tied to white acceptance. I don't give a fuck about being accepted by white people anymore. I've accepted their rejection a long time ago. And so nothing they say or do matters to me anymore. You feel what I'm saying? They're irrelevant to me at this point. Like, people ask me, like, yo, do you hate white people? I'm like, no, white people are really irrelevant to my existence. I've accepted their rejection of me a long time ago. You feel me? And for me, it was easier to accept their rejection because I'm like, I'm an elite. I didn't realize this. Like, when I was young, like I said, tying it back into being the smartest kid in the class. Not the smartest black kid, the smartest kid. So when my teacher tells me, oh, yo, you number one, I was already scratching at the heels of everybody else. And the thing about it is, they were taking the AP classes. They were taking the honors classes. They were fucking doing all the extracurricular shit. I smoked weed. I smoked. I drank. I worked a job. You feel me? I didn't study. I didn't cram all this shit, and I was right on their heels. That's why when I tell the story of how I graduated from undergrad, I'm like, yo, it pissed me off because it was like, I didn't try. Everybody's like, yo, you still graduated with honors, but I didn't try. I don't think a real winner has a problem with winning and you didn't play. That's a waste. We see, when we look at the mind and shit, we don't think the mind can have the same ranks and the same capacities as the body. So you can see somebody like LeBron James and shit going out being mad because he does not have to play hard. He does not have to play hard. You feel me? But yet, we don't look at a person with a mind like that. I tell them, yo, I didn't try. Well, you should be. That's like, no, you take my win from me. You take my motherfucking win from me, dog. That's not fair. That's not fair to me. You take my win from me when I'm, you know what I'm saying, when I'm in that mental space. It's like, yo, take the easy A. It's not about getting the easy A. It's about wasting my motherfucking time and taking my win from me. You take my win from me if I win without trying. The fuck? I didn't need it. Like, this didn't push me. I can't learn anything out of this. You feel what I'm saying? So that was how it was high school. You know what I'm saying? I was right there, and I didn't try. You know what I'm saying? And so that's when I realized I'm leagues ahead of a lot of people. For me, that's why I never really had an inferiority complex. Like, I knew the capabilities of my mind. You feel me? But I never had to look at it as race. You know what I'm saying? Because the more my people did, they were like, yo, you act white. I don't act white. To be honest with you, if you really want to put down the numbers, they're acting me. If I'm at the top, my nigga, what the fuck? I remember when I was in the 5th grade. Right? And this is going to get back to the story. I remember when I was in the 5th grade, and in the 5th grade, we had this little end of year study review thing, right? And I was the smartest one in the class. So much so that it was me and another person. We were 1 and 2. And the teacher was like, okay, we're going to have teams. You two are going to be leaders of the team. You feel me? She couldn't say who was number 1 and who was number 2, but we all knew because it was who's going to be the number 2 on the team. Who's going to be the leaders of the team? It's me and another person, right? And everybody else. And this is when I knew my mind was different too. I always been ahead of the curve. But like, we split the teams. I had the class on my team, had the class on the other team, right? So the teacher was like, all right, we're going to do trivia, quiz bowl, whatever. Now, this is on everything. Science, math, English, anything, right? So the teacher's like, if you don't know the answer, you ask your team leader to answer for you, right? And it got to the point that I started answering so many questions because my team would just yell, pass it to Curtis, because that was my name. That's what I went by at the time. I told you that story. So like, yo, pass it to Curtis. And I had to literally stop the teacher and say, no. I said, hold on, because it was Miss Hargett. She was a black teacher. She was the first black woman that ever put me in my place on some real shit, but she didn't do it disrespectfully. She didn't come into the classroom on some tyrannical shit. It gave me a different perspective of adult black women. Because I had middle school. No, I had elementary school, 2nd grade, 3rd grade teacher. But it was different in the South. Totally different. But when she came in there, I was like, hey, what's up, Miss H? She was like, my name is Miss Hargett. And I was like, oh, I'll call you Miss Hargett then. I called her Miss Hargett ever since then. And, kept it what it was. So in that moment, there was like, I never forget it. It was a Caucasian girl. She was just like, Curtis, you can answer. I said, hold up, wait. I said, Miss Hargett, we got to pause this game. I said, look, y'all got to at least try. I said, y'all ain't stupid. Y'all got to at least try to answer the question. And like, she looked like she was like, hey, why the fuck is a 10-year-old saying shit like that? I was like, y'all got to at least try, yo. Y'all know the material. Y'all know how to do this. And it's like, y'all can't keep handing it off to me. I was winning. I was winning the game. It's like that thing was like my team was winning, but it was like I was like Kobe dropping 81 because they kept passing me the questions. I don't know here, and I would answer it. You feel me? And then the person that I was going against, I kept stumping them. Like, and we could steal the question. So when they didn't know, I was able to answer the question, right? So the reason why I'm saying that shit is all because now it ties into, the conversation I had with my mom. I set that tone because now when I go into the conversation with my mom, it was, am I not, when she was talking about my hitting the raw book, I said, is it not professional by skill set or by white acceptance? And to kind of put she was like, this ain't professional. It's very professional. It's very professional. Nobody has ever broken down nutrition, health, fucking nature, and all, like the way I've done it in such a small way. That's professional like a motherfucker. But it's not something that white people will accept. The title is called Hitting It Raw, Living a Raw Plant-Based Lifestyle for Life. The shit that I broke down flavors. I broke down taste. I broke down how to change emotional attachments. I've done so much shit on 3 different levels in 78 pages of an ebook. You can't argue that that's not professional skill. But you can argue that it's not professionalism in a context. That's a nice word. That's why I love English and I hate it at the same time. That's a nice word to put on. Let white people accept you. You gotta be professional. So as black people, we can't fuck up for shit because professionalism, we assume we're taking it as, oh, I'm a professional now. No, you ain't shit. They don't give a fuck about your skill set. Professionalism for them is how well you can be trained and tamed. Professionalism is the new white acceptance, and we won't address that shit. We won't speak on it the way it's supposed to be spoken on. You feel me? We act like, oh, you gotta be, I got my degrees. And this ties into what I was saying and how I wasn't trying to dictate black women and like be on their side. It's like, if y'all are the most educated, y'all are the most professional, y'all gonna own that. I take that. I give y'all the good shit. But this is why if you read Sofrel 3, I got a concept of credit and blame. Onus. It's called onus. And it's like, people always want to either take credit or be absolved from blame, but nobody wants to accept the onus. Onus is when you own the full dynamic of the thing. You can't take the good and leave the bad out. You can't only take the bad and not accept the good. You have to take onus, which is the totality of the thing. So if we are going to say that black women are the most educated, I'm not taking that away from them. I'm proud of my sisters. But y'all are also the most wired to white acceptance. Y'all are the most wired to white acceptance. And y'all hate that shit. You know it. Because now, the integration now ties into this. The fact that I gave you a job that you got to be professional for, you can't do shit. You can't do shit unless if I'm not fucking up my job. Right? That's what we call it now. That's what we call it now. Because remember I said now we got a buffer. So I'm not fucking up my job. I'm not fucking up my paper. I'm not fucking up my livelihood. Because what I do right now is going to cause me to get fired. Who's my boss? Who's my boss? Who can fire me? You feel me? Yeah, the guards are changing. You know, it's more of us up there at that level. But you got to think about before that level was happening, like who was there? Like, you know what I'm saying? Be professional. I gotta be able to be accepted by white people. I got to make sure white people accept me. So I got these degrees. So now I have to disconnect myself from that, from my own culture. You feel me? White people, they'll be comfortable enough to tell you, hey, yo, you one of the good ones. What? I was watching Snowfall. And Andre, before Franklin killed him and shit, Andre was talking to his white partner. And his white partner is literally comfortable as fuck looking at Andre saying, he said, I don't even know how you live down there in the jungle with those animals. Good thing you're one of the good ones. One of the good what? Only thing that nigga caught was good. Good what? He just told you that your people are from the jungle. And you are one of the good ones. What is the ones? He didn't want to call you a monkey. Monkey. So he said you're one of the good ones. One of the well-trained ones. One of the professional ones. Because you're a cop. You're with us now. We've accepted you into our space. Now you can't do shit. So when they came in and they raided the house and they beat Jerome up and made Louis watch, and he didn't stop us, and it was 3 or 4 white guys. He just walked in and looked and didn't stop it. So now when people are like, you know, I get it, it's fucked up. Franklin had to put that bullet in his head because Franklin is off his other side, but it's like, I get it. I get it. I get it. That was integration. They don't need cointelpro no more, which is the purpose of this. So now tying it back, let me finish that point. You know what I'm saying? So in writing the book, my mom kept telling me it wasn't professional. My mom kept telling me but it wasn't professional, but I was living in 2 different worlds. A lot of us as black people live in 2 different worlds. I'm fortunate enough to have the world of social media and a world that I was able to be myself first and not be what looked good to everybody else. Because the very other people, my audience and shit, like I'm living in a time zone. I'm not a time zone, twilight zone, like where on one side people can't see how I'm being successful at the things that aren't, you know, white people didn't co-sign this. I didn't know I needed them to. You feel what I'm saying? But then on the other side, it's like my people, there's people that they can't fathom how I can, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the professionalism is there, but I'm looking at professionalism from 2 different perspectives. I'm able to experience it from 2 different perspectives. Y'all that are my podcasters, y'all that are on my Instagram and shit, y'all that are, you know, so frail, y'all that are with Master in the Market, y'all that are hitting it raw. Y'all see my professionalism as my skill set. Everybody else sees my professionalism as how well, you know, oh, you're a rebel. You fought, like, you fuck the system. Nah, bitch, it is fuck this system, but I've accepted that this system rejects me, right? Which now segues into my next point. Because when you just want acceptance, you can never reach a point where you can really learn your enemy. Only because you have to fight for the love in them. You feel me? You have to fight for the love in them. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just want to get along. We just want to stop. Like, we're going to extend love. You can't extend love to niggas that extend hate. There's a con proverb that says you return hate with hate. I don't get it. Nobody wants black people to wild the fuck out. I think that's what it is. Everybody's scared of black people wilding out. I can admit it. Because at this point, it's like everybody's done so much to us, everybody's afraid. People don't get that part. It's deeper than a fear. It's afraid, because it's like, while we just want justice, they know. They fear the day we want revenge. They fear the day we want revenge. So all of this integration shit, it was a part of that. It was a part of that design. It was a part of making sure that we silence them by making them want to be accepted by us. If we can make them want to be accepted by us, they will be. You feel me? But we have to make it in a way where they don't feel like they're being accepted. So we create the buffer. So the civil rights movement, that generation of civil rights movement, simultaneously history repeats itself. That generation of the civil rights movement will be equivalent to my generation of the Black Lives Matter thing. Your kids are now serving as the buffer between you and the next generation. Your kids right now are the buffer between you and the next generation. Now I'm putting that in perspective because the generation that preceded the baby boomers, the generation that preceded them, the baby boomers are indeed the buffer. The Karens and all this other group, they're the buffer between that generation that wanted the acceptance. When I say acceptance, I mean acceptance bad. Like, we're just now in a space where women have accepted natural hair. I've seen the transition happen. I got to see that we started to like our hair. But even still, some of them really don't. You're still trying to get used to it. I respect it. It takes time. It takes time. This is 400 or 500 years in the making. This ties me into another point that just hit me. This is related to this episode, but somehow a little bit different. I realized that everybody fucks with my So For Real series until I get to religion. Somehow I don't get it. I don't understand it. Motherfuckers will tell me everything is on point. Your study, your research. But somehow, when I talk about the religion, it's suddenly wrong. And I asked them, I said, if I'm going to start the research, start the basics and the understanding of So For Real from the history that we started from slaves, if that's how y'all want to rock at, because slavery is what emasculated the man. We got to address everything that we got during slavery. Religion was the thing we got before we were enslaved. So, when I look at that, the religion is the ultimate level of white acceptance. Sit with that. And I didn't say Christianity. Notice, I didn't say Islam. Notice, I didn't say Hebrew Israelite. I said religion is the highest form. Accepting the religion is the highest form of white acceptance. And they test to see who's really still, to see how wired you are. Dylan Roof came into a store, shot 9 motherfuckers. He got 9 motherfuckers picked off in a church. And they were going to pray. Niggas talking about they prayer warriors. Okay. Feel me? Because it's crazy because we don't fear. We don't love God. We don't believe in religion. Like, I'm about to get real with this one. We don't believe in God collectively. We don't love God. We don't give a fuck about God. We don't give a fuck about God, Jesus, Jehovah, Krishna, Buddha, Allah. None of these motherfuckers. We fear going to hell. Collectively. That's why we still try to have justifications of, oh, they know my heart. No. They don't know your heart. They know that your heart is still fucked up. But regardless of whether they know your heart or not, if it's, if they know your heart, look at the actions that you put into the world. They don't give up. That's your heart. The other 6 days, that's your heart. You feel what I'm saying? But nobody, I don't give a fuck. You can't argue with me. And I'll end up getting to the point where we'll either get into a heated debate because you'll be in such a denying factor that you don't want to accept the fact that I don't really love God. I don't really believe in God. I just fear hell. And I mask it in a buffer. I mask it as, oh, it's because I love God. I ain't doing that because I don't want to go to hell. Oh, God told you not to do this. God told you this. If that is the case and you really love God as you say you do, how the fuck is the devil so busy in your life? if these two entities might not be one and the same. But I'm saying that because we got religion. Religion is how we got enslaved. Not only how we got enslaved, it's how we stayed enslaved for so long. I get it. I get it. There's buffers between your spirits. Like, well, people will tell me, yo, well, when you talking about the universe, you just talking about God. No, I can't be talking about God. I'm not. I'm talking about the universe, for real, for real. If God created the universe, not the universe I live in. God isn't smart enough to create that universe, but you would know that if you studied your religion. Imagine being created and knowing that you're created in the image and likeness of God, but then it's like, okay, you serve a jealous, wrathful, and vengeful God. That's an abusive relationship, bro. And we're in an abusive relationship with religion and white supremacy. As long as there's Bible, I remember, I never forget it. I was teetering. This was 2014. I was teetering. I had studied. I watched Hidden Colors. I said, you know what? This religion ain't for me, bro. I can't do it. And I was still there, still trying to hold on to it. I went on a job interview. Old white dude, cockeyed. He looked like a real slave master. I promise you, it's like there was like an energy shift, and it was just like, yo, bro, either me and this nigga connected in a past life or some shit, or it was some shit with it. Because he looked me dead in my soul. He said, one of my favorite Bible verses. Now, mind you, I read the Bible front to back, left to right, up and down, in and out for 7 years. I know what the fuck is in this bitch. The 66 books. I know this motherfucker, right? You could have chose any verse that has something relevant to work and labor and a relationship between, a boss and a worker, whatever the case may be. You know what this nigga tell me? He says, my favorite Bible verse. Favorite. Words are important. My favorite Bible verse is, slaves, honor your master as you would Jesus Christ. That's the pause I had to do when I looked at him. I said, all right, I get you. And I left. And he's like, I don't want to come off a certain way. I just want to let you know that's my favorite verse. I know why that's your favorite verse, pussy. I'm not stupid. I said, I got you. I went home. And then, because this was like right after med school and shit. So, even that fiasco. So I went home. And as I'm talking to my mama and shit, I looked at her. I said, I'm not taking that job. I said, you know what he told me? She said, what? He said his favorite Bible verse. And I looked at dead in her soul because we was talking. She said, you just got to seek understanding. You got to ask God for your clarity. Everybody kept telling me that shit. Lead not on your own understanding. You need the understanding of God. The understanding of God is God consciousness, right? I broke that down in So Frail 3, the level of what a Messiah really is and why that shit is so important. This ties into this episode. And I'm not upset because I'm angry. I'm passionate about this shit because our people are suffering because of this, right? She told me all the time, you may be wrong. You touching on dangerous waters. Lean not on your understanding. Okay, cool. Lean not on my understanding. So what understanding do I get when a white dude tells me directly that the very religion that we sharing is this motherfucker telling me, slaves, honor your masters as you would Jesus Christ. And he looks at me. So when I look at her and I say that, I just don't say anything. There's nothing she can say because she know I'm gone. My mama knew I was going after religion at that moment. She knew. She seen it in my soul. She can tell the way that I looked at her. It was like, I tried. And to this day, she still try to think it's a phase because she doesn't want to accept what I said. Because she sees it on a regular basis too. But again, I don't fear hell. So when I say people, they're trying to hype themselves up. Oh, I love God. I this, that, and the third. You don't. You fear hell. And you mask it as you loving your deity. You don't. This is why when shit goes south, you can switch religions. The fuck? You feel me? You know how many people done went from Islam to Christianity back and forth? Oh, nah, see, I tested it to see because you fear hell. You want to see which one is going to give you the biggest comfort if you have to go to hell. And who's not going to make you feel guilty the most for living the way you live. But at the end of the day, it's all tied to white acceptance. But how is it tied to white acceptance? Because in order for any religion to run, and in order for any religion to be able to organize itself, it has to sign a 501c3. It has to plan that as a nonprofit organization. A 501c3 is what keeps them running. But the thing about a 501c3 is that you cannot step in and affect government. Like, you can't go against what the government has set in motion. Basically, that's what a 501c states. You cannot go against what the government has in motion, right? So what's the first thing that they do when they kill us in the streets? Who do they call? Not the Ghostbusters, my nigga. They call Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, the Christians, the preachers who are going to pray and fucking forgive. Religion is the highest form of white acceptance. So now, like I said, signing back into the dude that I was working with, well, about to work with, or whatever the case would be, him telling me, yeah, you know, slaves on it. It's like, at that moment, y'all hear me quote this a lot, but at that moment was when I thoroughly understood it. And it manifested itself to where this is not just something that I say for shits and giggles to be, fight the system, get a white man back in his religion. No, it's something I experienced. The God of your enemy is your devil. And if you and your enemy serve the same God, you are worshiping the devil. When a motherfucker can look at me and say, slaves, honor your masters as you would Jesus Christ. There was not even a thought in my mind to feel the need to say that to him. Do you know why? Because we've never shared a relationship in which he was my slave and I was his master. So why would that be the thing? Because the God of your enemy. It's like, we think we don't want to go through hell. We're living it. We're living through hell right now because we're serving the God of our enemy. Because why? We need acceptance. Okay, we'll take it. Stop cutting our heads off. Stop ripping us apart with horses and shit. We will believe this shit. Damn it. We'll take it. We'll preach it. We'll know it better than you. And we don't. Still don't. Still don't. But we fear hell. We fear hell. So much so, this shit's got us so fucked up, we can't logically think about the fact that, how the fuck are y'all not going to end up in hell? The very people that gave you the religion, that taught you the concept of hell, that told you that if you didn't follow these things, you would go to hell, they don't fear the hell. They commit all these atrocities against you. They don't fear the hell that they're telling you to fear, and you're not doing any of these atrocities. It's crazy, right? It's crazy as fuck, because that's where we are right now. I'm going to get to how this ties into cointelpro, but all that shit, it flows, yo. It flows. It's a devastating reality when I really look at it, because how many of us stayed in this space? You feel me? That fear of hell is a different reality. So now when people ask me like, yo, you gonna come back to God? I'm not coming back to the religion. I don't have to. I don't fear hell. I don't fear hell. When you fear hell, you make every justification for why you walked away from the religion. And why you have to go back into it. You just, I needed the word. I need to know. That fear is kicking in that you're going to die and you don't want to go to hell. So you think just because you go to church, you think just because you go to the mosque, you think just because you can quote off the verses and hadiths and all of this other shit, you think you can, because you can quote that, you're going to stay out of heaven. I mean, you're going to get to heaven. No, you're already in hell. And if you read the Bible for real, it says that what you bind up on earth, you'll bind up in heaven. So if your life, how your life is right now in heaven is what it's going to be like. We think it's on random milk and honey, nigga. All right, nigga, that what you bind, that's a Bible verse. Look it up. That what you bind on earth, you will loose in heaven. What does that mean? That which is what you live on this earth is how you're going to live once you get on the other side. But people fear hell. So the biggest conceptualization of what? You're going to burn in fire. That's what people fear, burning. Those are the two worst ways to die is through drowning and burning. You feel them forever. And it's like, when we look at time is obsolete. When you're in a situation where you're fighting for your life, that shit lasts forever. I don't think people get it. Like, as a kid, I wasn't necessarily fighting for my life, but as a kid, when I used to get into scrap outs, we would only be fighting for a good 30 seconds. That shit felt forever. Like, nigga, no, it's only 3 seconds. It's only 3 minutes. Couple hits, boom, boom, now we tired. Like, niggas really only, like, when we talk about fighting in the hood and shit, motherfuckers act like we going to wars and shit. Like, niggas, like, no, niggas barely breaking 2 minutes. You can barely break 2 minutes in a fight. That's it. Like, dead ass. Like, you barely breaking 2 minutes in a fight. So, the fights in the hood and shit, they don't crazy like that. But the point that I'm making with that is that When you in a state like that and you believe fire is how you gonna die, you gotta do this shit forever. Nah, that's different. So I don't fear hell anymore because hell can't really do shit to me logically when I put shit on paper and what hell really is. Even from a religious perspective, like the religious people will tell you right now, because I heard this growing up. The flesh is nothing. Like, we gonna drop these shells and we gonna fly, we gonna float or whatever. I heard all the shit. I even quoted the shit. You feel me? I even quoted the shit, right? But then I started to realize, if we are not these physical shells, my nigga, and they're gone, how the fuck is a fire gonna burn me? It's only gonna burn my physical body. This don't go to hell. My energy's supposed to go to hell, and that's gonna burn, but my energy can pass through fire. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. We gotta think, but we fear that shit. We fear that shit because of the situation that's been, passed down. So when we start, that's why I was talking about when people look at how I express, so frail and shit, they get mad at the religion. All of this shit works because religion is the highest form, the greatest form of white acceptance, and we don't even know it. We don't even know it. So much so that we got ourselves calling ourselves the real Jews. Nigga, we the real ones. Y'all ain't the real ones. We the real ones. Jesus ain't white. He black. We want to accept the fucking reality that they gave us. We don't even realize it. We so busy worrying about, is he fake? Is he real? Is he white? Is he black? Not realizing that, y'all, they gave us something that we accepted to control. This is how they control us. They know, okay, as long as we make them believe in this deity or that, or the fear, and we fear hell so much that we don't even believe in the deity no more. You know why? Because we low-key really believe all I got to do is repent. Really. As long as I repent before I die, I'm good. By holding on to that notion and then knowing that Jesus died for your sins. You feel me? You can walk this earth all day long feeling guilty and ashamed. You feel me? That kills your motherfucking personal identity above anything else by feeling guilty and ashamed. Read Sophra 3 and you'll see what I'm talking about. But the religion is the biggest thing that makes us feel guilt and shame. Why? Why was that a reality? Why was that a necessary reality? Because we fought for the white acceptance. This was the first pinnacle piece that white people... See, look, when you capture people, right, you got to hit their soul, their mind, and then their body. You can't just put shackles on a motherfucker. Like, they want us to believe that white people were that powerful and shit. Like, motherfucking, they just called us. And, like, that's why I hate the movie Roots now. I watched it when I was in the 2nd grade. Because my teacher had, culture, you want to know history and shit. I'm watching Selena. I'm watching the Cesar Chavez shit. I'm watching different cultural people. Yo-Yo Ma. I'm watching all of these different people who came from adversity, right? How the fuck are we watching Roots? We watching the cultural history of all these different cultures, and we watching Roots as black people. You feel me? They made Kunta Kinte look like he was just a nigga always running. He ain't never fight shit. They just like, the motherfuckers just got off the ships and started putting chains on niggas. No. That's not what the fuck happened. They got the spirit first. Then they got the mind. The body was easy to follow.
All you keep hearing is get into the markets. But do you trade or do you invest? Should you do stocks, Forex, crypto, or NFTs? My personal answer is not a single one if you don't know how to read a chart. Without knowing how to read a chart, you end up giving all your money to those who do. Do you know what a candle is? Do you know the pocket of activity? Do you know the difference between market direction and market control? If you answer no at least once, you might want to learn how to read a chart first. Learning how to read a chart will let you know if you should trade or invest and if you should do stocks, Forex, crypto, and or NFTs. It will also let you know if this is even for you or not. So visit IamJustSeen.com to learn how to read charts with my Mastering the Market course, ebooks, and webinars today. The world is changing. The question is, will you adapt with it?
You get the spirit by addressing your reality, spirituality. You feel me? Then it's easy to control the mind. That's why I'm like, the first buffer was that generation. You feel me? That generation. And everybody wants to break out of the white supremacy structure, but you can't until you give back the religion. It's not that the religion is the white man's. We could have got it from whoever. Our people very well could have wrote it. But in our people writing it, because the Hebrews, they put the shit together after they got it from, being trained in the ways of the Egyptians and shit. You feel me? Like, motherfuckers be like, yo, Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Bible, but he got all of his shit from the Egyptians. Ain't that some shit? The niggas raised, let me show you how disrespectful Moses is. The niggas raised Moses as a motherfucking Egyptian. His Hebrew mama left the nigga by the fucking, she was like, yo, nigga, the fuck? Put you in the basket and leave you by the ocean. No milk, no water, nothing. No food, nigga, you just there crying. People look at it, oh, that was a divine motion for, like, no, she was killing that little nigga, bro. Let's say an alligator came and snapped him. I get it, we talk about the divine ordinance because God had bigger plans for him, whatever the case may be. How much bigger plans do you have when you turn on the very people that took you in? That's metaphorical as hell. Listen to the fucking story and think about how black people are moving right fucking now. The very motherfuckers who take you in and actually cared for you. The motherfuckers who actually did something for you. You feel me? You didn't even know that you weren't them. Nigga didn't know he was Hebrew. He thought he was Egyptian because he was raised and trained in the ways of the Egyptians. They took him in as their son. But then you go fuck with the people that pretty much left you there. Because it was, divine ordinance or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, he learned all of their ways, and then he stole their ways and said, I'm gonna fuck 42 commandments. I'm gonna do 10, and I'm gonna tell y'all God said do it. I'm gonna tell y'all not to do it. The thing about the Egyptians being trained in the ways of the Egyptians were very, from you understanding the biblical text and then understanding Kemet and merging the two, you understand that Kemetic people were very accountable. Religious people aren't. Why do you think the 10 commandments say thou shalt not do shit? They don't tell you what I'm not going to do. They tell you what you shouldn't do. So now you run around with a whole bunch of motherfuckers preaching. Got the business. Got everybody's business in their mouth and ain't got no business for the motherfucker selves. Cycles, my nigga. This shit's deep. But anywho, religion was the highest form of white acceptance. It was the first form of white acceptance that we had to accept. After they got that, now it's the education system. You feel me? And this is why I'm mentioning that, because I never realized how many white people I was smarter than. While everybody was telling me, oh, yo, you think you white because you smart. These white people think I'm me. And I wasn't saying that in a disrespectful way. I was saying that in the way of logic. You're not going to undermine my shit. People would try to make you, like, people used to call me a nerd. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like this. When people try to humble you, exalt yourself. That's a new phrase that I'm going with. If somebody tries to humble you, exalt yourself. And here's what I mean by that. If you get called a nerd, respond by telling me you're a genius. Shut them the fuck up. Because I know you calling me a nerd trying to be disrespectful, but I'm going to put some respect on what the fuck I am. Call me arrogant, call me what you want, but you will not undermine what the fuck I am. You feel what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm saying that is because as I went through schools and shit, like, it's like, all of the people that I thought was smart, I was smarter than. All the people that everybody else thought was smart, they was like, yo, bro, how you feel me? Like, I was the pride of the hood because of that. Like, when we used to have trivia shit and quiz bowls, my peers used to love to see me whoop their ass. But the teachers hated it. Teachers hated it. I remember being in the 4th grade, the first time I ever experienced racism like this. This was overt racism. California, when I grew up, that was covert, passive-aggressive shit. California is progressive on a lot of shit. They were like the first passive-aggressive motherfuckers. Like, everybody just dictates what the fuck Cali gonna do, right? But anyway, so I'm in the South, right? And they really hate black people so much, like they hate a kid. I was the smartest nigga in the class. I'm thinking like them. This is the smartest little nigga in this class. He's smarter than ours. And I say so much smarter than theirs, like, I mean, busted they shit. Like, I was killing they motherfucking ass. Like, it was, and I wasn't trying. That's what made it worse. I wasn't trying. So much so I remember one time I had got a discipline assignment. I don't even remember what I got a discipline assignment for. But I'm simultaneously taking notes, finishing up the discipline assignment, and taking notes and making sure everything's straight. So I give her the thing. She's like, when did you do these? I said, just now. You just gave them to me now. No, you were supposed to take them home and do them, bring them back. Bitch, they got done. What the fuck did you talk? That was the thing that my mom never raised me inferior. And as I get older, I know it seemed like I was talking shit, but I have the utmost respect for my mom because no matter what, she's seen that I may be able to do things that she may not be able to do. She was an adult already. Shit was already established. I was a raw kid. There's a lot of things she imparted in me that, their personality traits now. It's like, and I got older, I got angry and shit. I was like, yo, mom, why can't you see this? Her shit was already established, bro. That's why she made sure yours wasn't going to be like that. And I got to respect and appreciate that. But I can't deny the fact that she served as a buffer because it's somebody that's how it played out. This is what we in. This is what we in. You feel what I'm saying? So to have these teachers like literally hate me just because I was the smartest, like they couldn't control me. That was powerful. I didn't even know how much power I had as a kid, but I realized how much power my mama gave me. Because when I was in those classes and shit, they would literally try to muscle like yo, yes ma'am. Huh? Don't hum me. What? Like, it's like, I didn't grow up off that. Well, I can tell you don't respect your mother and all of this. No, we not from that culture, you stupid motherfucker. We didn't grow up in California like that. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. And then on top of that, I found this out earlier. Well, I found this out like a couple years ago. My mama told me, yeah, my dad, he told me never, ever to say yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. That's Southern. He said, she was like, he taught me that is a form. So I didn't make y'all do it. Right? So my mama would ask me a question. I'd be like, huh? And it's not disrespectful. I really, huh? It's, you know, huh, you can hear. You feel me? It's like, I'm like, what? What you say? But it was never, you know, down here is different because I understood slavery now. Black people, you can't say huh to these niggas. You can't say, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I was never a motherfucker to do that. Even when my peers, the students would be, I'm like, why y'all saying yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am? What the fuck is up with this shit? I'm in the 4th grade. I just came from California. I don't know this shit. But that's how they was responding. And that's how they wanted me to respond. So I wrote the discipline assignment. I just was like, nah, you know, she said, now you got to do double. Okay, cool. So then when I went over to get them, she said, don't know because you're going to do them right now. Get them. She said, I'll give them to you when you leave. Those are her words. So I come back the next day after I did the first set. Then I got to do them double. So I come back the next day. And she said, do you have your discipline assignment? Nope. She said, why not? I said, you didn't give it to me. She said, you didn't take it. I said, no, you didn't give it to me. When I tried to go get it, you told me to sit down. And I looked her dead in the soul. Now, mind you, I'm a 10-year-old. I've always had an old soul. So I realized that it was my inner power, my higher self, inner power stepping in to defend myself. People thought I was rude and disrespectful. Let me say this real quick. A lot of motherfuckers gonna think you rude and disrespectful because your higher self is acknowledging your higher self may be higher than theirs, and your higher self is standing up for itself, but it's in a child's body, or it's in a younger person's body, or it's in a body that isn't as professional, isn't as acclaimed as somebody else. So it makes you feel like something's wrong with you. No, bitch, I'm defending myself. My higher self is stepping in and saying what you're doing is wrong. I used to speak to adults as adults, not because I'm in a child space. No, my soul is older than yours. I have to show you. You feel me? Still like that to this day. Still like that to this day. So, you know, as a kid, it's like you coming into that space. What is it? You feel me? It's the culture. It's integration. This is the final result. This is that 3rd generation. The 2 generations already served. The civil rights movement was 1 generation, and the buffer in between, and the motherfuckers that want to be highly educated, and we the product of that shit. Feel me? We the product of that shit. For them, it was like the same, because we got to think about it. Same motherfuckers, it's like, yo, be professional. These niggas the same stupid motherfuckers that was like, yo, we're going to go leave where we are, get on a bus, drive all the way down south to go sit somewhere where motherfuckers, they're going to be pulling your hair. They're going to be burning you with cigarettes. Why the fuck would I want to go over there? And we made it still, oh, we're showing that we have a resolve. No, nigga. We're showing that by any means we're going to fight to be accepted by white people no matter what the fuck they do with us. We don't care what you do to us. Just accept us, please. Just please accept us. We're going to go to your schools. We're going to do everything. Like, that's why to this day, motherfuckers think a degree at a PWI is better than a degree from an HBCU. Let me explain something to y'all real quick. All right, let me explain something to y'all real quick. As a motherfucker, right, who has gone through HBCU and PWI, nobody's smarter than the other. All these niggas stupid. I'm going to tell you why. Because they teach us to major in one thing. We don't critically think. We don't actually think. We get well trained. But that's a whole different thing. But the reason why they think something is better than PWI is simply because it's white. Because let me tell you about an HBCU. In order for an HBCU to get accredited, it has to be approved under the same rigorous standards that the PWI is. So the only difference between the PWI and the HBCU is the population of people. I ain't gonna say the population, that's the wrong word. The demographic of people. Population does fit in, demographic does. The population of the demographic of people. The dominating population, the dominating demographic as the population of the school. You dig what I mean? That's what it's about. So it's not about who's better or who's worse, because it's like, nigga, they all. And when I first peeped this shit, it was like, everybody, when I was growing up, everybody was like, you gotta join, go to UNC. You should go to UNC, go to Duke. Mama was the perfect example of that shit. I love her to life. She's like, you should go to Duke. I was like, why? Because her thing was, they're giving out free scholarships. You know, they got a good medical program. They got all of this. You just want me to be closer to white people. She's like, they got shit for, I get it. They want to exploit me. You're not seeing what I'm seeing. I was like, they're not exploiting me. The fuck? They're going to exploit and leverage me at the same time. They're going to exploit the fact that, oh, you're underrepresented because you're a minority. I can't be a minority if I have dominant genetics. But anyway, it's like, they're going to exploit me because I'm the minority. So it's like, oh, you can go for free. Okay, but that's not free. I've learned nothing is free with Caucasian people when it comes to black people. Nothing is free. What are you going to give up? Right? Yeah, you're going to give me this education, but what expense do I have to lose myself to get this shit? How professional do I have to become to obtain this shit? You feel what I'm saying? So I got it. It was like, all right, cool. So I wanted to be, HBCU. So it's like, nah, yo, go to Duke, go to UNC, go somewhere, go one of the top schools. Everybody talk about the top fucking school. What makes a school the top school? The students in the bitch. You feel me? It ain't the school. It's the students that are trained a certain way to make the school reflect. Like, it's a whole different game. But the purpose that I'm making with that is because people kept telling me to go in UNC. They go to one of the UNCs or whatever the case may be, because they thought those are the real schools. And then when I looked at, like, I went down the backside and shit, and I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I looked at the website of my school. It was like, what is it? It's like Broncos.UNCFSU, some shit like that. It was something like that. And I was like, UNC FSU. I was like, why do they call the school UNC FSU if it's not UNC? They said because it's in the UNC system. So wait. We have the UNCs, but it's a system. Yeah, all these schools are UNC. Oh. So it don't matter which school is. Oh, niggas just really got to be where they comfortable at. But they've already gone through the rigorous standards to accredit all of this. So the people's like, don't go to an HBCU because it don't count. I don't give a fuck. It counted a lot. It's a HBCU, and as somebody who's been to an HBCU and somebody who has been to the PWIs, you feel me? I'm so glad I went to an HBCU first, though. You feel me? If anybody has gone through this, I'm sorry. I'm not doing this to rub this in your face. Please understand that. But when I went to the PWI for the first time, it was homecoming time. So I was like, yo, when's the homecoming game? They were like, homecoming. I was like, what? Where's the band? Like, where's, like, you feel me? It's like, y'all don't do this shit. It's like, no, the homecoming game, we're going to play. That's it? The fuck? You feel me? HBCU, nigga. That shit's lit, bro. We cooking out at the motherfucking plots. You feel me? Homecoming, the band go motherfucking play. We don't even give a fuck about the game. On some real shit, bro, I don't remember none of the scores for none of the homecomings I went to. Nobody does. Because it's really homecoming. That shows that there's no way you can tell me that a PWI is better than HBCU when the HBCU has family. You feel me? We learn to collaborate low-key when we at a HBCU. There's little shit that we keep under the codes and shit. But again, a lot of the shit was, Now, granted, this is not a shot at the Greek letter organizations, but this is how they were founded. This is how they started off with the white acceptance. Yeah, they had their black shit in it, but it was still like, when you have a brown paper bag test, I get that it changed. You feel me? But you can't deny the history. You feel me? The Deltas, they were started because, by an AKA. Originally, y'all got to know the story, but the Deltas were started by either AKA or a woman who wanted to be AKA, but she was too dark, so she founded the Deltas. And now when we look at how these things play out, a lot of shit, again, it may not be the same inception now, but the roots run deep. I don't give a fuck how much the tree has evolved if the root was still planted under what it was planted under. It's still going to produce that fruit, whether the fruit knows what's wrong with it or not. To this day, we still operate from that perspective because the roots run deep. You feel what I'm saying? But that was integration. You feel me? I get it. Civil, like, don't get me wrong. That shit happened. We were segregated when we started the Greek letter organizations and all that shit. But what were we emulating? We wanted to be a part of their societies. We didn't realize a lot of the backside of the shit was going on, but we wanted to be a part of that. But again, it's like, how well can they accept me? So let's be professional. Let's be all these things. Let's be everything that makes white people think we're tamed. Like, nothing's wrong with us. We don't want, like, they really convinced us that we were savages when they found us. I was just watching this, like, today. Well, not today, yesterday, you know, because this is the wake up jump. But I was literally watching this TikTok, and these two white people, white dude and white lady, they talking this shit, right? So the white lady's like, oh my gosh, I just can't see how you can just go to someone's house and use their soap. And the dude was like, what do you mean? She said, because, you know, you use the soap to wash your whole body. And he was like, no, you don't. And at first I'm thinking we got, you know what I'm saying? Oh shit. He said, no, you don't. You rub the soap on your hands. And I was like, none of these niggas use washcloths. This is who the fuck we wanted acceptance from. Mind you, here's why I'm saying that. Because if we say, oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven, we know that in 7-Eleven and Moors, they didn't invade. They didn't genocide. They came in to help these motherfuckers live longer. Life expectancy before the Moors came in was 35, 40 years old because they couldn't live. They kept all of their animals together. This is why black people fear rats and mice. We don't know why we fear it. We just know, oh, I don't like mice. Why? See, this is what what I'm about to express is transgenerational trauma tied to white acceptance, right? You know why you fear rats as black people? Why we fear rats and mice and shit? Why we fear certain animals, right? Is because we have accepted what white people do. White people fear rats because rats almost wiped them out several times. The bubonic plague, what they say, was triggered by rats. But why was it triggered by rats? Because they live with rats. They live with these things. You know what I mean? They didn't separate their animals into different, like, they didn't know how to domesticate shit. Now they know how to do it well, but we taught them that. Now, mind you, this was in 7-Eleven. The Moors taught them in 7-Eleven. I taught them how to take baths, and they still don't know how to do the shit. And that's who the fuck we want acceptance from? You feel me? A couple months ago, I seen this TikTok video of this, you know, white people like, I'm gonna wash my legs. Nigga, that's who you want acceptance from? A motherfucker who can't take a full bath? What? Again, this ties into the beginning. Some of the things, like, people ask me, like, yo, why do you hate? I don't hate white people. I've accepted their rejection. Because it's like, why do I have to fight for your acceptance when it's like, basic shit's problematic to you? I've never been inferior to them. I've never even felt inferior to them because it's like, what? You can't even stay in the sun for 10 minutes. You feel me? Fuck. Why am I seeking acceptance from you? You feel me? But again, integration. That was the final piece. Now we can get into the meats and potatoes of the shit. We should have already been on meats and potatoes, but when you look at where we are right now, cointelpro, they don't need cointelpro no more. Because y'all invite people to the cookout because they can dance. White people got smart. They said, let's stop trying to control them. Let's just infiltrate them. You feel me? When hip-hop came up, let's put a white person in there. Like, niggas really put Eminem in their top 5. I don't get it. I don't know how. The only grounds is that he's white. Because niggas be like, nah, bro, M could spit. No, he got a cosign from Dr. Dre. I get it. He can put words together. I get it. And I know, oh, he bodied Jay-Z on Ether. Y'all only said that shit because him and Nas was beefing and Nas pointed that shit out. But if you actually listen to flow-wise, I give him that. Renegade, you know, he flowed better. I'm going to tell you 2 reasons why he flowed better. One, Eminem produced the beat. Nigga, the fuck? This, as a producer, as a songwriter, as an artist, I understand the depths of what it is. When you produce your own beat, you can bring your music out better because you know how you rap. Jay-Z had to come into the space of his music. That's Eminem's beat and his lyrics. Of course, he was gonna beat you on his own, on your. They say, yo, he bodied you on your own shit. No, he didn't. He did not body Jay-Z on his own shit. If he produced the track and he wrote lyrics to the motherfucker and got the hook, he was already at a. People don't look at the bigger picture like that. I'm sorry, I do, but if you look at some of the, like, you can say that that Eminem bodied him, but it's like, listen to the shit. The fact that Jay-Z is like his levels, you know what I'm saying? He dumbed his, like, and that's what's crazy. That's what pissed me off. Jay-Z dumbed his flow down for that. People forget that part too. You feel me? What he said? He said, I used to rap like common sense. I make $5 million. I ain't rap like common sense. He told niggas I could do it. You feel me? But I don't have to. But then here come Eminem with the skippity paps to the pitty bops to the box. It's like, oh, he raps fast. Like, I had a whole debate with motherfuckers. I was at work. This shit pissed me off. Motherfuckers like, yo, Eminem is the best rapper. I was like, white people. Like, I said, no, he's not. Yes, he is. Have you heard Rap God? Okay. Spit a bar from Rap God. You can't. He just goes. That's not a Rap God then. That's a nigga who putting words together. So he knows how to rhyme syllable patterns and shit like that. That's cool. Does it have any depth and any meaning? In this Rap God, now, don't get me wrong. He was dissing the Cannon. I ain't even gonna hold you, bro. Like, that shit, he had a hard line in the motherfucker. Like, I'm not taking back what I said, but he had a hard line in the motherfucker where he was like, he said, Mariah castrated. She said, Mariah castrated you. He shouldn't have let that happen to you, Nick. And that was hard because when you a eunuch is motherfucking castration. That shit was hard. I ain't gonna hold you. But, you know what I'm saying? At the grand scheme of it all, to put him in the top 5, it's like, even in the top 3, it doesn't make sense. Because in addition to, he put words together, but it's like, how much of it is felt? How many do you feel? How many of you have felt? Even his hardest song, Eminem's hardest, most pivotal song, most popular song is Lose Yourself. Nobody feel that shit. Lose yourself to the music, the moment you want it, better never let it go. Hot song. You don't feel it. It don't hit the same as, now he got hit like I got hit, but he ain't fucking breathing. Do it? No, it don't. Because you feel that pain. You feel that. White people are coming into our culture without the feeling of what we've gone through, and we're giving it to them because we want their acceptance. We looking for the acceptance. So like I said, tying it back to Renegade, you don't remember no powerful shit. I can remember some shit that Jay said. You know, I don't remember the whole line. It's like, but anyway, when Jay said, I came to the fork in the road and went straight. When I expressed that bar to somebody, I was like, bro, that's simple, yo. M was flowing. Okay, cool. I went to the fork in the road and went straight. That shows me you've never been in a life-changing decision in your life and didn't know what to do. The fact that you can't get that. I came to the fork in the road and went straight. Because neither one of these paths worked for me. How many of us have ever been, if you've never been in a situation where no path worked for you? You don't get it. You feel what I'm saying? You don't get it. You can't. So it's like, I used Eminem as an example simply because even when he did certain shit, he got to stay in the culture. Nobody canceled Eminem. Kevin Hart can get canceled for resurfaced tweets that came up. Eminem can make songs about black bitches and shit long before niggas. Oh, that was before. We ain't got no gatekeepers. But anywho, acceptance. Yo, Eminem can rap. He's this, that, and the third. Now, I respect the people who leveraged him. Dr. Dre leveraged him. 50 Cent leveraged him. You feel me? They leveraged him. They leveraged him. They were smart with it. I ain't even gonna hold you. Because you gotta know how you gotta play your game. But when we look at how just the acceptance of it all, it's like, they've been trying to find a way to infiltrate us and stay permanently. But here's why it fucked up. Because what they didn't count on was the influence that we would reverberate back to the world. Right? And our acceptance, and our acceptance of our force to be accepted by them, we damage ourselves so much, but then their kids follow our culture. That's where they fucked up. They start this like population controllers, they know they about to go extinct. They thought they can get us killed off and shit mentally and all this other shit. They didn't do nothing but revive something, because once we integrated into their system, once we integrated into their structure, it This is what it was. Get your good degrees, dress this way, wear your power suits, wear this, that, and the third, speak this way. Like, the fact that black people got a code switch. The fact that black people, we have a, how the fuck we develop a language within a language within a language? We have English, Ebonics, and code switching. Why do we got a code switch if we're not trying to seek their approval and their acceptance? I get it. Education. Oh, I got to turn this on and off. I ain't accepting because we're looking at, we're seeing generational details rather than seeing the principle of the shit. So we thinking, oh, I'm not cooning. I'm not selling out. I'm not doing this because I'm not doing what the people that preceded me did. That was called that shit. I don't want white people to be my friend. I'm going to go into their system and I'm going to bring it down. You go into their system and get brought the fuck down. Everybody I know that says I'm going to go in and fight the system. Now, you do got them. You feel me? We look at Johnny Cochran's situation a little bit differently because he got OJ off. It wasn't that. It's that you beat them in their own game. You beat them in their own game. You played it better. You feel me? And that's what the realizations are supposed to be. You play the game better, right? But what we do is that, like I said, tied into the setting, we code switch. We code switch. You feel me? You tell me you can go, like how I'm talking right now, can I go into a job and talk like that? No. But I can't stop talking like this. So what do I got to do? It's like, nah, you're not professional. You can't do this shit. I had to create a world for myself. I like to be like this. I like to be me. I don't like to be what somebody else needs me to be. But it's like a base, like there's certain shit that you just got to accept. You got to accept. And the code switch is a part of acceptance. Now, you feel what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to talk a certain way. I can't be a certain way on my social media because it's a reflection of this. Yeah, like we think it's not. Like integration was powerful, my nigga. It was powerful as fuck. A lot of us are in that same space right now. We just call our white acceptance professionalism. I got a code switch. You feel me? Oh, I'm professional. You ain't professional as shit. If you ain't proficient in your skill set, I don't give a fuck if you can articulate the message and sound like you know what you're talking about. You don't. So you're not professional in my eyes. You feel me? You're not professional in my eyes. That's why motherfuckers look at me like I'm off. They're like, because, yo, you supposed to be using, like, I don't got to. Because I'm not trying to be accepted by anybody. I've already accepted myself and accepted rejection of all the others. We as a black people have not reached the point where we accepted rejection. And I realized, like, motherfuckers like, yo, how you had the confidence to do certain shit? Because the separation between you and I is that I've already reached the point where I've accepted their rejection. You're still fighting for their acceptance. In the world where they won't respect, we fighting for acceptance when they don't accept us. And they blatantly tell us they don't accept us. Like, people be like, yo, it's like, you know, oh, they killed us in the streets again. Please stop killing us. No. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't stop killing us. Yeah, please stop killing us. But, y'all, that's not going to make them stop killing us. They don't accept us. They don't accept us. Y'all want justice for the system that wasn't designed for you? Y'all want to, like, accept that. Accept the reality of what the shit is built on. We got to make change. You're not making change. You cannot change the reality of something you did not create. People. So many people say, yo, you could have went on in, like, when I left med school. Because, you know, the pharmaceutical companies and all of the other shit. I seen the real shit. I've been sharing it with y'all what I saw on the other side for a long time. Everybody's like, nah, you could have been the change. Why don't y'all listen to me? Nah, yo, see, because you smart enough. You could have kept yourself grounded and all that shit. I would have had to be professional, y'all. I would have had to be professional. I would have had to maintain professionalism. There's no way I could have been able to do anything like this. And the reality played itself out as of December 2019. Everything that I said, everything I stood for. Like, people looked at, you know, everybody tells me you stand for nothing, you die for anything. Now, everybody looking at, yo, I got people that's like, yo, bro, how in the fuck do you not have a vaccine and you did not get sick this entire time? All my family, as far as I know, a lot of them, they vaccinated and they still sick. They still got sick. My siblings, I don't think they vaccinated. My sister says she not. I don't know if my brother is or not. I don't know. You know, like My mom was even ashamed to be vaccinated. She didn't want to, because what the reality came back to was everything that I had said prior. When I left med school, I seen something coming. I couldn't put my foot on it. I was like, my finger. I was like, y'all, this system ain't right. But nah, see, that's why you got to go in and. My mama, she tell me all the time. She said, the day you told me that, I knew you was done. I knew you was done. She's like, but I wanted you to stay in because you got to fit. You could change the system. You can't. I know you can't change the system. The system will change you. The system will change you. The fact that so many doctors advocated for this shot. I took the Hippocratic Oath seriously. Do no harm. And before I do harm, I walk away from this shit. And I walked away from this shit. And now look. As of 2019, COVID hit, niggas done got vaccinated. Their DNA has been mutated. Population control has been made effective. Some niggas ain't got their taste back yet. Some people can't smell. Some motherfuckers have died. And your life insurance policy won't play out because this was an experiment. That's the sad part. So when you tell me I could have changed that shit from the inside, I couldn't have. But see, that's the point of the whole thing of the white acceptance. A lot of black people, we in denial of shit. We in denial of shit on the premise that if we just get along, they'll fuck with us. No, they won't. They barely fuck with themselves. Imagine. There's casualties of war. They're willing to put their own people through the ringer just to make sure you fucked up. It's crazy. And that's what you want to accept you. You feel me? That's what integration was. That was the ultimate point of saying, yo, we want white people to accept us. And so what happens was we fought for civil rights. So we literally, this is the contract that we're asking. We're not paying attention to what the elders are doing as they're going through the civil rights movement. They're saying, what do we have to do for you not to fuck with us? They're literally telling you there's nothing you can do to make us stop beating y'all ass. There's nothing you can do to make us stop fucking with you. But if you think that you can do something, why don't you fight for civil rights? Set up the NAACP and fight for civil rights and shit. Let us run it. Let us run the shit. You feel me? But you be the face. You show that you're trying to, show them the better human. Show them the better motherfucking human that you are. We don't have to get better. We can't. This is who we are. You just accept this. And you show us what we have to do. You know what I mean? Like, we want y'all to just be civil. We'll stop fucking with you if you could be civil. Not only be civil, but know that you won't. Not only be civil, but tame any other uncivilized behavior that you see. So, when one of us dies in the street, now, this right here is going to get touchy. I love my family to life. But the George Floyd shit pissed me off. George Floyd is a cousin of mine. That is a cousin of mine. To watch the news and see my cousins and shit, we gonna pray and we gonna that shit hurt. That contradicted everything I stood on. But again, it's just me. My family don't necessarily, we don't share the same shit. So it's like they want to pray and they want to do all of these things and we forget. I don't forgive none of these motherfuckers. Now, granted, I get it. You feel me? Because, people say, oh, George Floyd was a porno star. I didn't know that shit, like, whatever. Motherfuckers want to surface all of that shit. And it's like him and the cop, whatever. All the other shit, bro. Like, it was the fact that the acceptance. You feel me? Acceptance. So much so that it's just like, yo, let us do whatever we do. No matter what y'all do, we're not going to stop. And the fact that people are still praying and like, yo, we want I don't want justice anymore for shit. I want reality. I want black people to stop being bitches. I want black people to stop trying to be accepted by white people. I'm not taking no moral high ground. I don't give a fuck about a moral high ground. There is no moral high ground when you're dealing with immoral people. But we continue to hold on to that. So as we integrate it from the spaces that we are in, this is where we are now. This is why Martin's house is burning. Because this is the reality of humility. Humility, to be humble, is to make yourself insignificant. So when you follow in a way, it's like the more humble, quote unquote, we are, the more white people accept us. But if you know humble means to make insignificant. Like, you feel me? Like, I'm going to tell you a reason why I didn't study in school. The reason why I didn't study in college. And, you know, people was like, yo, why didn't you, but you don't study? It's like, because y'all niggas told me to be humble. I told y'all I was a genius. I told y'all I was good at this shit. Y'all kept saying be humble. So how do I make myself not appear as smart as I am? Don't study. Party and shit. Like, imagine that shit, bro. I didn't take this shit seriously. But now I don't do that shit anymore. I don't give a fuck about making, don't ruffle no feathers. I don't give a fuck about your feathers. You shouldn't be a fucking bird. I'm a human, bitch. The fuck? The fuck you mean, ruffle no feathers? You can ruffle these nuts. Because you're going to ruffle my feathers to try to. You feel me? But that's not here nor there. That's just the reality of where we at. And I'm learning to see that this reality is so tainted and so damaged because we want to be accepted by white people. We don't get it. Like, we be at work and shit. And like, oh, I got to bite my tongue. Acceptance. We be in different positions. Shit, we go into a job and shit. The fact that you got to go on an interview one way and it's like, but when I pull up, it don't mean shit. They gave you the job. You'll tone that shit down eventually. Or you'll quit and find another one. Most motherfuckers ain't gonna quit once they land the job immediately, so they'll perform as best as possible. You feel me? I'm gonna keep it a hundo with you. The real reason why, when we look at everything happens for a reason, logically, but when you look at why they starting, it's motherfuckers is like, it's 2021 and motherfuckers are just now legally saying it's wrong to, they're saying that it's legally wrong to discriminate against somebody's hair. Now we can wear our hair how we want to. Y'all know that was a business move, right? Because rather than, and that's the beauty of, the fact that we're not like that, the previous generation who served as the buffer, who got caught into that white acceptance and shit. A lot of us said, fuck it, we can't win for losing. I'm not trying to be accepted anymore. So the people that's complaining, you don't worry about my hair or anything, I'm leaving. Oh, no. These are our best productive motherfuckers. Y'all didn't, look, let them have their hair if they want their hair. The fuck? It's like, let them have the shit. They're the most productive motherfuckers we got. You feel me? Legalize the shit and don't discriminate against them. Oh, this job really cares about me. They care about your resource. They care about you as the resource. Human resources. They care about you as a product that can bring them money. Not as a person, motherfucker. So they'll make the adjustments to keep. Racism ain't profitable no more, y'all. Racism ain't profitable no more. That's why niggas is pivoting now. You feel me? We been had a hope, like the Colin Kaepernick shit, when Nike said we're going to support Colin Kaepernick, because that was one of their biggest entities. Oh, y'all can keep coming with us? We know whose dollar we got to get. White people ain't buying Nikes in droves like that. We are. Racism ain't profitable, yo. Black racism ain't profitable no more. Because now we're starting to see that we got so much power. But we still don't see the white power. We still don't see the right power that we're supposed to have. We still out here looking at a situation where, you feel me, we still want to be accepted. Oh, I'm professional. You feel me? Like, that's what be shocking niggas when they realize how good as shit I am, because it's like, I don't come off like I am. You feel me? Oh, no, you just this, that, and the third. That's why I keep the right people away. It blows, like, when I tell people that I wrote a book, they look at me like I'm crazy. They be like, what? You wrote a book? About what? The fuck you mean about what? Go read it. They be like, yo, your books are really good. I didn't know you was a writer like that. Why? Because you don't talk like, why the fuck would I talk like I write? Because when I write, I'm conceptualizing thoughts that I've stuck with for a long time. The fuck? So yes, I have to say certain things, but it's like, yo, all right, cool. I get it. You don't realize that I'm a professional by skill set. You realize you think I'm unprofessional because I don't give a fuck about being accepted by white people. And that's largely what all of this shit is. We gotta wear our hair a certain way, we gotta dress a certain way, we gotta walk a certain way, we gotta talk a certain way. It's funny how when I come to people and shit, and it's like when we first start talking, especially women, especially women, when we first start talking, it's, because they know I'm intelligent and shit, right? But you feel me? They be wanting to speak like they're intelligent. No, be you. I want to see how smart you are. You feel me? And then after a while, I start breaking it down. I'm like, oh shit, there you go cussing and shit. Oh shit, there you go with your slang. You still throwing that shit. Cause man, you make it easy for. I get it. I know I do. You know why? Because I'm not trying to be accepted by. Now, here's where it becomes a little coded and a little lower, because while we're fighting for professionalism, now we infiltrate that, because we no longer calling it white acceptance and we're calling it professionalism. Now we can impose it upon each other as black people. I can look at you and say, you're not professional. And you'll internalize that as, I'm not professional, rather than, yo, you're saying that, you know what I'm saying, I'm not accepted by white people. You feel me? When you tell a motherfucker they're not professional, what you're telling them is that white people won't accept them. The white system won't accept them. They'll accept me, though, because I'm professional. I got my degrees. I'm professional in this shit, but you ain't proficient, nigga. There's no reason why I should know more than psychologists, bro. And I have no degree in psychology. When I talk to psychologists about the 4 levels of the mind, literally, no bullshit, I promise you. I've talked to people who are psychologists that are actual degrees, high level, master, PhD, and they said, what are you talking about 4 levels of the mind? Why aren't you talking about the 4 levels of the mind? Why are you so stuck on behavior? Like, ain't there more to it? Nah, this is why. It's like, so I'm like, yo, you can't limit me. I can't be professional to y'all. You feel me? I'm beyond the proficiency level. Like, you feel me? I don't gotta, you know what I mean? But that's the thing. That's a new buffer. Professionalism. Be professional. I ain't gonna hold you, yo. When I became an entrepreneur, I started changing. And when I started changing, it's like, yo, they're not gonna fuck with you unless you be yourself. That's one of the things that kept me broke. Trying to be professional. By behavior, not by skill set. But that's all rooted in, and thinking that, oh, white people gonna make us do this. We gotta do this. No. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit no more. I don't. I've accepted their rejection of me. It's too exhausting trying to be accepted by these niggas, bro. And now, like I said, when you had that professionalism mindset, now I'm trying to be accepted by my people. You feel me? My people, not realizing that they're telling me that my lack of professionalism is, oh, you too black. So what does that make you? Really sit with that. What does that make you? You're well behaved. You're educated. You're professional. So that's why you can get into the certain doors. I don't want to get in their doors. I don't want to get in their doors. I don't want to sit at the tables. I don't want to go to their houses. I don't want to invite them to their cookouts. I don't give a fuck about their raisins and potato salad. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. You dig what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Because I've learned to accept their rejection. That's why a lot of the ways that I move and shit, people are like, how you move so comfortably and shit? Like, I don't want their acceptance anymore. I don't need it. When they've never held a candle to me, why would I want to be accepted by them? You feel me? Not just like, and that's the sad part about it, because a lot of us, we look at it from the perspective of only the fact that because white people are professional, they articulate well, they know how to present a message well. I can't lie. They don't be knowing half the shit they be talking about. They just know how to sound good with it. You feel what I'm saying? So when I look at how this whole thing plays out and where we are right now and the shit and the situations and the circumstances that we in, it's because we want to be accepted by white people still. To this day, we just call it something different. Yeah, it's all rooted in integration, because integration set that up. It started that tone to say, you know what? If we infiltrate them. Now, this ties into cointelpro. I'm going to go ahead and start trying to wrap this up, but cointelpro no longer needs to be seen. Like, we know that there's a cointelpro. I will always ask, like, yo, why don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, yo, is cointelpro still a thing? Like, because we know when it's like, do you know when they come in? You don't have to, because you have integration. cointelpro is easy to establish when you had integration. When you see a white person in your neighborhood now, you don't think it's a problem anymore. You feel me? You think it's normal. You get a sense of ease. It's, white people are here. You feel me? I'm a fortunate generation. How many of us have actually heard the words like, you feel me? I be outside. I heard this when I was a kid. Like, my homeboys, like, yo, white people, yo, they'll whisper. I don't give a fuck. Like, how many of y'all whisper the word white people when you in public? Yeah, you want white acceptance and don't even know it. You can say it, but if you're going to say white people, if you got white people, there's white people around, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Don't have a conversation with me about white people around white people if you don't want to talk about white people. Now that ties into my acceptance of their rejection. They're not the focal point of my mind anymore. I don't give a fuck about what white people do. I don't. I don't need their acceptance. Their approval is null and void. And this is where it comes into knowing yourself, because I know it's a direct correlation between the people who understand, oh yeah, we came from kings and queens, y'all know that shit, but they still want that white acceptance. They want white people to see the kings and queens. That's what they want. See the king and queen that I believe I am, but they don't want to go back to what made those people kings and queens. Because the very kings and queens, the pharaohs and all the shit, that none of these people were Christians or Muslims. We don't want to accept that reality. Because that means that in order to accept ourselves, we have to see beyond where we placed our limitations. We have to see well beyond where we placed our limitations. Where we placed our limitations is very, 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 very low. And the reason why it's so low is because simply we want to be accepted by white people.
And don't forget to check out Cafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch. Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Cafe Clothing.
I'm gonna go ahead and end it there, yo. Yeah. I don't know why this just came to me as a dream, and I just had to wake up and do it, but I guess it was necessary. Because a lot of times we look at it as like, motherfucker, it's like, it be coons calling coons coons, and don't nobody realize that low-key we all coons. It's relative. It's relative, bro. We all seek white acceptance in some way, shape, or form. For some of us, we want to be as wealthy as the white people around us. For some of us, we don't want to be wealthy for the sake of our friends and our generation. We want to be wealthy for the sake of white people, to be able to rub elbows in their spaces. Feel me? That's why you can't find value in the high value products that are ours. Like, we have luxury brands of clothes, sunglasses, all that shit. They ain't white. They ain't white. I know so many black people, so many pro-black motherfuckers are still, and I'm not mad. If you want to wear red bottoms, wear your motherfucking red bottoms. That's cool. Do your motherfucking thing. But at the same time, understand what you're doing. I got money, now I can spend money like white people. Fuck. You feel me? Shit crazy. That shit crazy as fuck. It's stupid too, because, like, look at just where we at. Feel me? How many of y'all feel like y'all in the cage because y'all professionals? You know what I mean? I know y'all do, because I was in the cage. I was in the cage like a motherfucker. I've been this motherfucker all my life. The motherfucker that I am now, I've been this motherfucker all my life, but I couldn't live like this motherfucker all my life because I had to be professional. Like I said, it started when I was like 11 and 12. Like, Mom, you don't have to cut your hair. And she was like, well, you might be able to get off with dreads, because it's like, they'll accept what? Who will accept what? What you talking about? At that moment, I never forget. I think that conversation with my mom is what turned me into an entrepreneur. Matter of fact, it was. It was, because I remember that whole conversation now. Because she was like, you might get, I said, you know what? And I just got real quiet because I didn't want to cut my hair. I love my hair. I love my hair. I did. It gave me life. Like, it was, she saw, well, you letting your hair go to your head, I'm going to cut it. It was always like a punishment or some shit like that. Like, but the moment I cut my hair, my life changed. But the point that I was making with that was that, like, at that point, it turned me into an entrepreneur, because it was like, she's like, basically, what you mean they gonna let me? That's how I took it. What you mean they're not gonna let me do shit? If I'm good, it shouldn't be whether they're gonna. And I was like, I got you. It doesn't matter how good I am. Doesn't matter how professional in the skill set I really am. If they don't want me in their space, they don't want me in their space. So at that moment, I never forget. I said, you know what? I'm gonna start my own practice. And then I started to realize I've always had this, like, ask anybody that I went to undergrad with. Ask my girlfriend undergrad. She'll tell you. And this is why we stayed together so long. We weren't supposed to be together that long, because she was like, what are you, John? I said, yeah, I'm gonna open my own forensic pathology lab. That was originally what I was gonna do. Because I was like, I want a private sector. Nobody can tell me what the fuck to do. But I realized they still can, because you're accredited by them. They control your accreditations. They do your certifications. They can shut you down. They can blackball you. They can do whatever the fuck they want to do. Because I got to make sure that I'm in a space where I can accept them. So I was like, you know what? Fuck y'all. I'm unplugging from y'all shit all the way around. Like, all the way around. When I say all the way around, I mean all the way around. It wasn't until I accepted their rejection of me, which helped me to accept the rejection of the people that have rejected me. My people that have rejected me, because I understood it's not the black person that's rejecting me. It's the motherfucker attempting to be professional. You feel me? Like, people who tell me, like, yo, bro, it's your delivery. It's not delivery, bitch. It's DiGiorno, nigga. You got me fucked up. Y'all want me to be in a certain space, like, and I've learned that there's a lot of people who, like, yo, that's how I learned what jealousy is. Jealousy is love and hate at the same time. There's so many people that are mad that I do what I do. They just don't know how to express it, because what they're really mad at is the fact is, like, you're free. The motto, peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, is not for shits and giggles. The freedom part is very impactful. Freedom is deep for me. I've accepted anything's rejection. I've accepted rejection from my father. I've accepted the generation from my family. I've accepted generations from my peers. I've accepted generation from the culture imposed upon me. I've learned to accept rejection. Most motherfuckers can't even handle rejection, let alone accept the shit. You dig what I'm saying? Nothing bothers me like that anymore. But because nothing bothers me like that, I'm able to see what other people can't see with this. So we justify, like I said, professionalism. You can't dress a certain way. You can't talk a certain way. You can't look a certain way. You got to make sure that whatever it is that you do, we approve of it. You dig what I'm saying? And if we don't approve of it, then we'll call it unprofessional, which means that white people didn't accept it. So it's not good. So it's like when I'm talking to my homies and shit, when I'm talking to people who are saying, yo, that's not professional. You're telling me white people ain't gonna like this, and I don't give a fuck because I didn't do this for white people. It ties back full circle, like I said, to my mom's conversation when she edited Hitting It Raw. She was like, it's overkill. You cussing too much. I'm not talking to people who don't cuss. I've learned how to find my audience. I'm not talking to people who don't cuss. I'm not talking to people who are trying to, make white people, I'm not talking to them. I know who I'm talking to. Because everybody that has read Hitting It Raw and shit like that, like, yo, bro, you made it so. This woman just hit me up. She read Hitting It Raw like a year ago or some shit. She said, yo, she said, all of the stuff that you put in there, she's like, I've already lost, I think she lost 30 pounds or some shit like that. She was like, just off of what you put, she said, I'm so grateful for y'all. You made it so easy. That's who the fuck I was talking to. That's professional right there. That's my level of professionalism. I don't give a fuck about the acceptance of what white people accept my information. Do the people who accept my information utilize it and put it to good use and it changes their life? Yes, they fucking do. I'm professional like a motherfucker. But none of this would be possible had not have seen through the veil and then started to look and observe at how professionalism is really white acceptance. I became a better professional when I stopped trying to be accepted by white people. I don't give a fuck about what white people say or do. Their lives don't control mine. They don't concern anything that I do. You know what I mean? I'm not giving them no energy. And that's one of the things in the way they keep siphoning off our energy. Professionalism. So we look at institutionalization. We look at the prison system. You feel me? So school to prison pipeline. School to prison pipeline. And when you go to prison again, I've been institutionalized. Yet you go to a college institution. So does that mean just by switching the words, you've been prisonized? Semantics or some antics. But think about that. Think about that. A motherfucker goes to prison and they'll say he's been institutionalized. But what do you think is supposed to happen when a motherfucker goes to a college institution? Is he not institutionalized too? Right? We look at it differently. We're institutionalized for different things, but both of them are for how white people are going to accept us. When white people accept us negatively, they put us in prison or they kill us. When white people accept us positively, they give us jobs and shit. But in both of these dynamics, you cannot do anything that goes against the acceptance. Prison has already gone against the acceptance. It's a whole different level. You feel me? Actually, it didn't go against the acceptance because you fell into the exact plan they set for you. This is how white people see you. Now, mind you, now this is going to get a little bit deeper, but I'm still not going to take it that deep. This is civilized behavior. This is what the civil rights movement was about. The black people are going to be civilized or uncivilized. If you're uncivilized, you become a criminal, you're put in prison. If you're civilized, you become professional. White people gave us the labels, yo. A criminal and a professional ain't no different from one another. It's just how they chose to view their acceptance with white supremacy. Both sides seek acceptance of it. This is why criminals end up crying and saying, oh, but you don't do nothing when the white, like the whole Bill Cosby shit and the seventh heaven guy and all these things. Why they don't never realize the shit is morally wrong. The shit that they did is morally wrong. It's just, why do white people get a slap on the hand and we don't? I want white people to treat me like they treat each other. No, nigga, you're not white. There's no reason for them to perform nepotism on you. And it's the same shit with the professional side. Same shit. I got passed up on this job because, nigga. Think about it. Principally, it's the same fucking argument when you're saying, I want to get my time reduced because a white person did the same crime and got their time reduced, rather than I want to get this job and get this same pay without getting, because the white people get like, no, you want to be accepted by them, bro. And you don't know that you want to be accepted because you're masking it as professionalism and criminality. And then that makes it even harder to see the principle, because as a professional, I'm not no criminal. I bet you got criminal tendencies because y'all the same motherfucker. Y'all both institutionalized. The fact is that the prisoner knows they're institutionalized, but the very person who goes to an institution doesn't know that they're institutionalized. After they come out for 4 years, you go do a prison bid for 5 years, and you go to college for 4, you think that's something different, nigga? No. You just think you're better. You just think you're better. You feel me? You just think you're better. But you're not. Because y'all both literally think the same. This is why it's like, oh, the college inmates debate team beat the fucking Harvard team. You were surprised, nigga? You niggas ain't stupid. Criminals ain't stupid, nigga. Criminals are just as intelligent as the motherfucking professionals you think are out there, if not more. You feel me? The only reality is that it's the way in which they approach how they want to be accepted by white people. When we look at the criminals that beat the game, right? What do we call them? Entrepreneurs. Successful entrepreneurs. They're the criminalistic mind who maintain professionalism. Low key, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm one of those motherfuckers. When you look at your 50 Cents, when you look at your Jay-Z's, when you look at the motherfucker, I dropped that high. Most business owners that hire people that went to college, they didn't go to fucking college. 50 Cent was like, I didn't go to Harvard, but I hired people who did. Because the difference between criminality and professionalism, right? This could be a whole nother episode, but I ain't gonna go down the road. But the difference between criminality and professionalism is liberation. Criminals are free. Professionals ain't. And because criminals know that professionals ain't free, that means professionals can be bought. Which means that I can put you on the payroll and you'll never cross me. I can't put a criminal on a payroll and hope he don't cross me. Because at some point he's going to want more. But as a criminal, I can put a professional on my payroll and they'll never cross me. In a society, why would you, as a people, want to make sure the professionals can't cross you? but keep the criminals in a space where they can't cross you. I think it's a game. Criminals and professionals are the same shit. Professionals are just scary. Criminals have no fear until they get locked up. And then they meet other criminals who they thought had no fear. The motherfuckers who really are smart enough to maintain the criminality and the professionalism don't go to jail. They figure out how to pimp the game and use the bullshit of the world that tried to kill them to be successful. You feel me? I can admit I got criminal minds. I can admit I got professional minds. But I changed and transitioned to a whole nother level when I realized that I had to accept the rejection of white people, because it was either going to make me a criminal or a professional, no matter which way I went. That's the core, y'all. This is the burning house. That's integration for you. That's what it did. That's what it did. Look at today. Either as black people, the world sees us only one way, as a criminal or professional. Tell me I'm lying. You yourself, as a black person, if you listen or whatever, ask yourself, how do you view? I view myself as a professional. I'm not a criminal, but you view criminals in a negative light. Now I realize that criminals are more freer than you, and that's why a lot of us do criminalistic behavior low key. Some of us don't scam on 100%. We don't go, and it's like, why do the good people win? Because the criminals, they can only run for so long. And then the criminal itself is, like I said, it's free. Like, I learned entrepreneurship from drug dealers, y'all. I've learned entrepreneurship from drug dealers. I didn't learn it from entrepreneurs. I didn't learn it from the business medicine, like the business school motherfuckers. How are you teaching business because you ain't got no business to run? Is that what this is? You're a professional. Professionals can be tamed if you put a check in their face. You're not going to argue. You just going to be sad. But a criminal, he getting it on his own. You can't put no money in my face, nigga. You feel me? But that's the reality of what it is. Integration led to this. This is why I love masculinity, analysis, and deconstruction. Motherfuckers, because we see so many details on a regular basis, we don't have many masculine structures that actually sit in our think tanks and break this shit down. And look, y'all, bro, integration led us to either be criminals or professionals. You feel me? Think about it. When we look at the two types of women that we buy for as men, we either gonna want the stripper, the super bad bitch, or the super professional chick. The criminal or the professional. Stripping is criminal behavior. Prostitution, low key. Borderline prostitution too. You feel me? This is why it's like, this is why we only feel that these are the only two routes. You can merge these two. I did. I do it well. I'm a professional criminal. You feel me? No funny shit. Like, I don't steal, I don't rob, I got integrity. Don't get me on no shit like that. But my mindset is from both of those. I just know not to go to jail. And I know how to stay out of jail. And the fact that I've accepted their rejection makes me not even fuck with their system anymore. I just live here. I just, all right, let me come in and get some money out of y'all and go. Like, fuck. That's really what it is. You know what I'm saying? What it's about. So, that's what integration led us to. This is why they don't need cointelpro no more. Because now we make it cool to either be a criminal or professional in some way, shape, or form, and then it's easy to let white people come in. You can invite them to the cookout. And you invite them to the cookout, then what? They destroy shit. They steal a recipe. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. Because in our generation, they're like, oh, you invited to the cookout. Oh, we accept you. You accept us. We think that you accept us because you're dancing like us. You're listening to our music. You're copying our style. No. Imitation is a serious form of flattery that mediocrity can pay to greatness. Remember that shit. Remember that shit. It doesn't stop at imitation. It's the sincerest form of flattery. It's not a good thing. It's the sincerest form of flattery that mediocrity can pay to greatness. They want to rap like us, dress like us, dance like us. You feel me? I'm a rapper here. I seen this case where white boy wanted to be a Crip, started throwing up C's, flagging and shit. Went on a drive-by in a Beamer. No, it was a Benz. It was a white Benz. Went in a Benz with some real Crips, some black Crips. He got a slap on the hand for, joyriding. These niggas took the rap. You feel me? Now it ties back in, criminal or professional. You feel me? It ain't no different. It ain't no different than when you go to the, to their PWIs or whatever the case may be. You still suffer the same shit. You feel me? I ain't got that fear, bro. Because I accepted their rejection. So therefore they can't make me a criminal or a professional anymore. Which means they can't tame me. School to prison pipeline is real. Education is a real thing. The education system is a double-edged sword to simultaneously make you a criminal and make you a criminal and make you a professional at the same time. Right? It gives you both. It's like red pill and blue pill, but you have a choice which one you're gonna take. If you know you bad, I don't want to be bad no more. So I'll be professional. I'll be well trained. It's like, yo, fuck that. I don't want to be professional, but you're still gonna succumb to the reality of I got to be accepted by white people. Either I want to be positively viewed by white people, or I'm going to be the outlaw and be negatively viewed by white people. Rather than I'm accepting the fact that they don't want to view me anyway, so I don't want to be seen by them. You feel me? Those are the people that got to be pulled off the board. Because it's not about segregation. You don't have to segregate from these motherfuckers. You don't. This is the world. We can cohabitate as well, but you have to be able to accept their rejection of you. Like, motherfuckers really don't even know how to deal with rejection, let alone accept it. So, it's levels. You feel me? But it's all tied into integration. It's all tied into the dualities of what happened when, it's the burning house. The burning house, and it's only two outcomes, criminality or professionalism. The motherfuckers really think they any different. Because they all institutionalized. You feel me? All institutionalized. But I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And understand right now you're serving as the buffer between how your child is supposed to come out and the life that your parent, may have instilled in you. You're the buffer and flipping it. Or accepting whatever it is. Accept some of the shit that you say. View some of the shit that you say and ask yourself if you are programming your child low-key to to try to be accepted by white people. Feel me? I used to hear in school, feel me? Tell my mama and shit. Now, granted, sometimes it was just to get out of trouble, but sometimes it was real. I'm like, Mom, the teacher don't like me. She'd tell me, you're not there to be liked. You're there to get an education. That's a powerful sentiment. Because the kids that are liked in school, they become professionals. But the kids that are disliked in school, they become the criminals. School to prison pipeline. It's right there. Either you're going to come out the criminal or you're going to go out the professional. Very few can walk the fine line. Very few can walk the fine line because you have to pick a choice. But even though it's still predicated on how white people are going to see you, because no matter which path you're going down, there's a white person above. There's a white person waiting for you to accept or reject you. You feel me? This is why, because of civil rights movement, the civil rights that we fought for was to be civil, and civil, the dualities, criminality, and fucking professionalism. And as I wrap this motherfucker up, I feel like Sofa 4 might come. Bruh, I thought I was done, man, but I hope I am. I hope it's just a glimpse, but there's more to this story, because it all still revolves around masculinity. The reason why emasculation is what it is, because it's stripping the men of analyzing and deconstructing the world. We would call shenanigans a long time ago. We were in control. Can't lead right when they're telling you how to lead, not how you divinely lead anyway. You feel me? So go kiss your babies and make sure you're not programming them to be, accept. Because I don't know what the term is going to be now. Right now it's professionalism. Soon they're going to have another term for what it is to accept white people. You feel me? I've heard professional so much, then I'll be looking at, like, when I heard professional, when I looked around me, there was no black people like that. You know what I mean? Because it's like, professionalism. He's always say, yo, you professional. I'll be like, not yet. Not in this. I'm professional in shit, but not in this. But for me, it was always skill set, not behavior. And not, white people, they like the black. Oh, until they see that other side. I didn't know you can get like this. What, a criminal, nigga? That's what you think? That's what you think? You feel me? Us that are professional and shit that, you know, tap into, we listen to trap music, drill music, all that. Yeah, you criminals too, nigga. You just ain't go to jail. You just ain't do no crime. Because you're professional enough not to. You feel me? But the real niggas and shit that have never gone to school and said, I could have did like smart as fuck. Niggas cooking crack is straight chemist. Like the fuck, nigga? That's a whole. You a chemist, my nigga. But you're too criminal to be professional. When I say nigga, this shit, our culture is already laid out for us and shit. We gotta learn to accept the rejection of white people so we can learn to accept ourselves. So make sure your babies are learning to accept themselves by accepting that white people reject them, by accepting that white supremacy rejects them. And you won't have to worry about a lot of the shit, because we'll start to transition differently. But I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. Go kiss your babies, make sure to eat their vegetables, and I'm gonna see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.